About 4 years ago, we received a report of a fraud where an individual who had posted his business on Facebook for doing asphalt driveways um, had went to the home of an elderly couple in Tyler. They solicited his business, and they gave him $3,000 to resurface their driveway, essentially. And his name Timothy Mark Adams, and he took the money and skipped town, never showed up. They filed charges on him. Our investigators attempted to contact him. He found out that the case was active. Actually started sending threatening text messages to this elderly couple as well. We had some more cases that came in with him as a suspect on different victims. Essentially, we had 2 warrants issued for his arrest for felony theft, and the district attorney's office as well did a grand jury indictment on him. So we had 3 warrants out for his arrest, and he skipped town, was not seen for 4 years. One of our investigators in the fraud unit, Detective John Partlow, received information that this individual was possibly living in Taylor County, Florida, and was staying in an RV park there. He spoke with one of the investigators there in Taylor County, and they were able to locate this individual and take him into custody for those outstanding warrants. I'm not sure how many warrants he had on him. We had 3 on him. I don't know if any other states had warrants on him as well. One of the things that was interesting was that during the course of our initial investigation, Detective Partlow spoke with a detective out of Hoover, Alabama, and they were comparing notes, and come to find out that this guy's committed scams and in other cities, in other states. I think they pointed out Tennessee, Georgia, of course, Alabama, and Texas. But with that being said, he is now safely in custody in Taylor County, Florida.
And how often do these asphalt fraudulent cases pop up here in Southern County?
The asphalt cases are one of the more common home improvement fraud cases that we get. Periodically, we'll have people come through the area that are trying to, make a little bit of money in that respect, and they'll post Facebook, other forms of advertisement, and they'll do this quite frequently. I'd say again, it's one of the more frequent scams that we get.
And what are some other examples of fraud cases you get here in this office?
Well, of course, we get a lot of scam cases. Our fraud unit does, involving telephone scams, where they'll call and say that that this individual has a warrant out for their arrest for not showing up for jury duty or something of that nature, and or another kind of fraud case that we've gotten in the past, and I've seen these as long as 10, 15 years ago, are when individuals a call saying that their loved one has been incarcerated, say in Mexico, and they need about an X amount of money to get them out of jail, and they'll blindly send money. I remember one to the tune of almost $20,000, and it's generally the elderly that fall victim to these types of scams.
I'll ask you 2 sets of questions on this. The first and foremost, how can you tell, what can people do to avoid these types of asphalt fraud scams?
Well, it's like anything else, and one of the other things is roofing. Okay, anytime that we have a bad hailstorm that comes through town, or tornadoes or anything, we're going to get a lot of roofers from out of the area that come in as well, and it's a big payday for them. I'm not saying all of them that come from out of town are bad. There are probably some good ones that come from out of town, but in getting back to your question, what can you do? Look for local established businesses whenever you're looking to have something like a asphalt driveway, concrete, roof. Look for local businesses, check references on them, find out from people that if they've ever heard of this company before. Other things you can do, a simple thing is getting on the Better Business Bureau on their website and seeing if they're a member of the Better Business Bureau.
Does that extend to just asphalt fraud or all types of
All,
fraud?
all types of fraud. Again, home improvement fraud is a big thing. I mean, roofing and asphalt driveways, those are two of the big things that we do get. A lot of times too, people will pay money, and the guy or whoever, they'll show up at the house and they'll do a little bit of work, a small amount of work, but not what they paid for, and then they'll leave. But in these particular cases, again, just be very vigilant. Typically, a good local company is going to have a lot of references, and they're going to have a lot of clientele in the area that you can call and speak with if you want to, and find out how they did on their job. But again, I would just stick with local businesses.
When these instances of fraud occur, are they often isolated incidents? This is the first time someone's doing it and they won't do it again? Is this something that is repeated that people do often?
No, the people that we deal with that do these types of scams are generally pretty frequent flyers. They're not just one and out. They're generally people that travel around and do this. And again, like this individual, Timothy Adams. I mean, he was doing it interstate. I mean, he was going to different states and doing it. And I don't know if he was doing it down there in Florida where they caught him at, but chances are he was probably doing some kind of fraudulent activity down there as well. Again, I just want to, if you have a question about somebody's, legitimacy, especially if they knock on your door and want to do work at your house, again, just do your due diligence. And if you feel like these people might be scam artists, you can give us a call. You can call the sheriff's office. You can call the police department if it's in the city, and we'll come out and talk to you if we need to, or we'll call you on the phone and speak to you. But generally speaking, seek out people on your own. Another thing that I did want to say that I didn't say a minute ago was don't pay first. If a legitimate person comes out to do your asphalt driveway or your roof, they're not going to ask for the payment up front. They're going to wait for the job to be completed before they get their money. In some cases, you'll have to supply some money for materials during the project, but that's typically after they're already there and they've started their work. Most legitimate companies have credit with building material places, and they're going to be able to do that. And then when you pay them the money at the completion of the job, they're going to be able to pay off their materials.